Yo, this is Teresa Weatherspoon, better known as Teaspoon, and you're watching Real Fans, Real Talk.
Live from the can. Vibe the can.
This is Real Fans, Real Talk. Real Fans, Real Talk. We as real as you thought. Real fans.
What's going on? Welcome to another live edition of Real Fans, Real Talk. Oh man, it's a Tuesday night, but we still got a lot to get to in the sports world, a lot going on right now. But before we do get into all the sports, let me introduce my co-host, my brother, Eric Sanchez, aka Legend in Two Games. What's going on?
What's really good, bro? You already know what time it is, man. We got too much to get into. We're not gonna waste no time, man. Let's get right to it.
I agree, 1,000%. You know what? Actually, before we do jump into the sports, let me just say this. Because I know you guys been asking. We confirmed Valerie Still will be back with us next Monday night, March 9th, the anniversary of the death actually of the late great Biggie Smalls.
Yeah.
But Valerie Still will be back with us next week. So all the unanswered questions, and if y'all got any new questions, next Monday we're gonna get to all of that, and you guys should by the end of the next Monday y'all have all the questions answered that y'all want. All right. All right, but let me see what we got going on here. See some of these questions. Shout out to Squeezy. He says, "What's the deal with Luke Cornett in the oh my goodness in the Magic City strip club ish?" I mean, is there ever a problem at Magic City? Like, what I know the wings are good, like what and the thighs, I guess too, right, Eric? But that's neither here nor there. What was going on with Luke Cornett in Magic City though?
He made some comments. I mean, they weren't. I don't perceive them to be like derogatory comments. He just felt like, it's not an event that the league should be promoting, that the Hawks should be promoting, that he said it's kind of degrading to women. So I ain't mad at him. That's how you feel. That's how you feel, bro. You ain't got to go. You ain't got to show up, but let's not pretend that Magic City is not ingrained in the culture of Atlanta. Let's not pretend that the city of Atlanta and the fans of the Hawks aren't excited for this type of event. So, it is what it is. You just got to deal with it.
Listen, that's his personal opinion. It is what it is.
Right.
Personally, I don't mind.
Everybody's entitled to their opinion. That's it.
Every once in a while, but that's again, that's neither here nor there. Really quick football news. Kyler Murray was released.
Well, it's not official. It'll be official, I believe, on the 11th when the league officially, the new year of the league.
Where do you think Kyler Murray lands? Well, I will make that a two-part question. Where do you think he'll land, and where do you think will be the best fit?
I don't know where the best fit will be for him because historically he's played his best football when it's not like a structured environment, kind of like when it's backyard football, where he's scrambling around, and there's no such offense that lets you do that. That's all broken plays. That's all as things break down, defensive players out of assignments or maybe break the pocket, but. Where I think he'll land will be interesting because there's going to be a lot of people that say, the Jets should sign him. I don't think the Jets should or will sign him because the Jets are in tank mode for next year. And next year's draft class is already projected to have anywhere from 10 to 12 really good quarterbacks in that class next year. Probably highlighted by Dante Moore in Oregon and Arch Manning coming out of Texas. So a lot of teams who need a quarterback may not really be interested. And wherever he goes, it might really only be on a one-year contract anyway. If he wants to win, I mean, maybe Atlanta, if Atlanta wanted to bring him in. If he's looking for a contract, I don't know where he's going to get that at, to be honest. So he might have to just back up somewhere, or he might have to go somewhere on a one-year deal, understanding that, this team has bigger plans moving forward after me anyway.
What do you think about Minnesota?
If he goes there, I think he's better than JJ McCarthy, but if he goes there, he has to understand that they're still going to cater towards JJ McCarthy. Remember, JJ was a first-round pick for them. They're not going to give up on JJ McCarthy after 1 year. He's going to have to compete and kind of beat him out for the job, which is very possible. Mm-hmm. But again, the odds would be stacked against you because you're not what they consider their future. JJ McCarthy was a first-round pick. He's only 2 years in of what's going to be potentially a 5-year contract. So they're going to try everything in their power to make it work with JJ McCarthy. He would have to come in there and almost like the way Mike Vick went into Philly that time where he knew it was McNabb's team, but I'm going there hoping to like kind of win this job from you. Something like that.
Well, I mean, listen, it worked out for Michael Vick in Philly. Maybe
right.
it might
long term it worked out. Right. It could. I mean, I think Kyler Murray, the one spot that probably makes the most sense is probably Pittsburgh. They don't have a high first round pick. They have never been in the business of just tanking, so they're not just going to look to tank. Even if Aaron Rodgers come back, Aaron Rodgers is probably in his last year regardless. So that might be the best spot for you to go to.
There you go. Let me go to Kyrie's question. Shout out to Kyrie. He says, "What a night for Unravel playoffs last night. I admit I haven't tuned in much, but I loved it." Is he referring to the game where Paige and them went off? Is that
the playoff game last night? I saw highlights. I didn't see the game either.
Okay, yeah. I mean, listen, it's great for women's basketball. Okay, it's just more exposure, and you're getting a lot of the stars, the WNBA stars, who are now getting ready to start the WNBA season playing in the Unrivaled League. I love it for women's basketball. I think it's done so much. I think it's done more than they even thought that it would do for women's basketball, especially here in America to kind of fill the gap or some of the gap in between the WNBA season. Because it's not like the WNBA plays 82 games like the NBA. So it's a shorter season. So there's a lot more time in the calendar year before you kind of get back to seeing the professionals, the women's basketball players. So the Unrival gives you that opportunity now at a different point in the year to still see some of those stars like a Paige Buckers, like an Angel Reese playing in the Unrivaled League.
Right. Yeah, kudos to them. As Kyrie mentioned, I didn't tune in, so I'm not going to pretend. I only saw it through highlights, but shout out to the women for doing their thing and being able to get that additional bag without having to go overseas.
Absolutely. And speaking of shout outs, since we're talking about the WNBA, definitely want to shout out Kia Clark, CEO of the New York Liberty. She showed us some love the other day, so definitely want to kick that back out to her. We're gonna see if we can get her locked in on Real Fans Real Talk, get her in for an interview, see if we can pick her brain a little bit. I'm sure she has a whole lot to say about women's basketball, the WNBA, the New York Liberty, and so big shout out to her. Let me go to this next comment. Can a healthy Nuggets team win the title? I don't think so. I'm just like, obviously, the season has caught up to OKC, but I still see them as the best team in basketball. And I just don't think that, even a healthy Denver Nuggets team has the depth to beat this OKC team.
I think we got to look at it differently this season because I do believe that both sides, East and Western Conference, are wide open. Pause. And what I mean by that is, OKC is probably the best team. But if OKC matches up with San Antonio probably can beat them in the series. We know they can. They beat them several times in the regular season. Same thing on the East side where Detroit is probably the best team, but I don't know if Detroit matches up well with certain teams in the East in a playoff series. So can Denver win it? Yeah, I think they can if they're fully healthy. Now, again, it's all about matchups, but you're talking about them having potentially the best player in the league, if not one of the top 3 guys in Joker. The supporting cast is really, really good because Jamal Murray has always played well in the playoffs. Once they get Aaron Gordon back, once they get Christian Braun back and everybody else, Peyton Watson, they've got a really good supporting cast. So I think they can go on a run, but it's really going to be about matchups. They lost a game to Minnesota the other day. Minnesota's had their number for like the last 2 years. Ant-Man gives them a lot of trouble. Nas Reed had a big game against them. DiVincenzo knocked down a lot of threes. And then Bose Hyler gave him, I think, almost 20 off the bench the other day. That was on Saturday or Sunday, actually. So matchups are going to matter. I don't think Denver would have trouble playing against San Antonio because they played San Antonio really well this year. But they seem to have a lot of trouble with Minnesota, and that's dating back to the past couple of years. Right now, Denver's in the 5th spot, but really there's only one game separating 5 and 3. So if Denver had to play Houston, I think they could beat Houston. If Denver had to play San Antonio, I think they could beat San Antonio. But if they had to play OKC or Minnesota, they probably can't beat those teams. So anybody has a shot. I just really think it's about who you match up with and how healthy that other team is.
Chauncey is back in court right now, and saying he's facing a lot of time. They're saying he could be facing decades in jail.
What you talking about?
Chauncey Billups. The whole, the
Oh,
whole team.
no, because we were talking about the Nuggets and you just went to Chauncey.
Oh, yeah, no, my bad. I'm sorry. But yeah, I'm transitioning. I'm all over. But nah, just because it just had popped up, and I'm just thinking that's kind of crazy, man. Like, I mean, honestly, I don't want nobody's, no time. I mean, unless you do some serious stuff, then yeah, you can go and sit for a little while. But decades, man, to throw your whole life away, and you talking about NBA champion, Finals MVP, made the transition into coaching,
Fringe Hall of Famer.
Yeah, and then this is just like, it's tough, man. But we're gonna see. He's back in court, so we'll update you guys on that week, as more develops. Let me go to Ron's question. Chances Tatum return hurts the Celtics chemistry, so we probably getting 85% Tatum right. It takes a full year playing to be back. Yeah, I don't think we get 100% Jason Tatum if he comes back this season. I think the most, depending on when he comes back, we get is 90% Jason Tatum. If you try to force him into the starting lineup, I think that would definitely hurt the chemistry. But if it's a situation where he's coming off the bench, maybe playing like 20 minutes a night, I guess that could be, somewhat of a boost to them if he is at 85 to 90% though. If he anything lower than that, then what I'm saying, I think it's going to be dead weight.
So in a perfect world, yeah, that's how it plays out. He comes off the bench, you kind of stagger the minutes with him and Brown, and it never becomes a conflict and it never interferes with the way the team has been run for the year. But this is not a perfect world. This is real life, and you're dealing with real egos. And there's nobody who can tell me that Jason Tatum is not watching what's going on right now and isn't a little jealous that this is happening without him. And that's not to say he's jealous of Jaylen Brown. He's just jealous of the fact that it's happening while he's not there.
Mm-hmm.
And as we talked about, me and Will talked about this on Wednesday, Jaylen Brown's already the Finals MVP of this team. He's already the Eastern Conference MVP of this team. Jaylen Brown right now with a lesser supporting cast is having more success than Jason Tatum ever had. There's never been a season where Jason Tatum can say, hey, I averaged 30 points a game and the second best player on my team was Derek White or Peyton Pritchard. It was always Jaylen Brown as the number 2 guy. And for years, that's why we debated who was really better. So now that Jaylen Brown is having this moment as the number 2 seed in the East, he's going to be one of the top 3 finalists for MVP. Jason Tatum's got to wonder what his place is with this organization now. That's just the human element of it. And nobody can tell me any different. You're looking at a guy who basically everything that you worked hard for and everything Jaylen Brown has worked hard for, it's happening for Jaylen Brown. It's not happening for you right now because you're sitting on the sidelines. So to think he's just going to come back and be okay with playing 20 minutes a night and coming off the bench, I don't think it goes that way. Yeah. I don't think it goes that way at all. I think there will be moments of just going back to old habits, right? It's my time to go. It's my time to get shots. It's my time to hunt defenses. Mm-hmm. And there's going to be friction there. The tough part here is going to be finding the minutes that they can really be on the court together.
Yeah.
60 games that Jason Tatum has not played. Jaylen Brown has been your best player. Tatum has to fall in line and understand that not only has he been our best player, but now I got to come in and probably be our number 1 defender. We can't ask Jaylen Brown to keep being the top defender. I got to come in and fill that role. I got to get mine off the glass now. I gotta figure out how I'm going to get my 15 shots tonight. And that's something completely new for Jason Tatum. And I do think it will affect this team. Now, luckily for them, we're here in March talking about this. They get about a month and a half, 2 months before the playoffs start to figure it out. I believe right now, early reports are that he's going to make his debut this Friday. So he's going to get almost 2 months to get himself ready for the playoffs. If they can figure it out, perfect, and the East gets even tougher. But I promise you, there's going to be moments where we come on this live trip and there's going to be comments saying, yeah, the Celtics ain't right since Tatum came back. Because the human element of it is that Jason Tatum, who was your all-world guy, who was your all-NBA guy, is now looking at a team that's completely different since the time he left. Go look, and if anybody doesn't believe me, go look at the shot charts. Go look at what they were running on offense for Jason Tatum the last few years in comparison to Jaylen Brown. Now the roles have completely reversed, and Jason Tatum's got to get comfortable being the number 2 guy and playing quote unquote the Scottie Pippen role, and that's going to be a challenge.
Good. Let me go to Hoop Central's question because it's another Boston comment. Hoop Central says, "I'm amazed how Boston has retooled their team and still one of the best teams in the East and league. Period. Warriors, pay attention." They did an amazing job for a team that a lot of people thought were going to tank it away because their superstar was not going to be there this season, and Boston said, "No, we're still a championship team." This kind of actually reminds me of MJ retiring the first time and the Bulls still, kind of doing their thing with Scottie leading the way and getting them to the Eastern Conference Finals. Only difference is that you actually got a chance that Tatum may be able to come back. But the moves that they made, that and in addition to guys like Derek White taking his game to another level, Peyton Pritchard taking his game to another level, because I seen it the other night. Pritchard had like 25 and 9 or something like that the other night. Maybe Caitlin Clark should have been too offended with the comparison from Reggie Miller with the way Pritchard been playing as of late. But they did an amazing job retooling this team without losing much, and they already had a solid young franchise building core of Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Both of these guys are relatively young. So they already had the core there, and just now, you let Horford go, you let Porzingis go, you're actually able to move in, a new center to kind of fill that void, and then you obviously Jaylen Brown playing like an MVP, playing on the MVP level, just is the icing on the cake with this team.
Yeah, and you can't even compare the two because the Warriors, obviously, they loaded up. They went on their historic run of 5 straight NBA finals appearances, right? But then the injuries, they had to be working back from injuries.
Yes,
because Steph was out, Clay was out for a little bit. Obviously, they lose KD. The team as a whole was older as well because guys like Sean Livingston was leaving, guys like Andre Iguodala were leaving. So you weren't the same team. Whereas Boston, like you said, was still very young, and they were able to kind of tinker with the roster. It was still Tatum and Brown, but it became the trade for Derek White, bringing back Al Horford, trading for Porzingis. It was the other little smaller moves that were able to work. So you can't even compare. And to say Warriors pay attention, I mean, last time I checked, the Warriors got 4 NBA championships. The Celtics with Tatum and Brown got 1. The Warriors would take their side of the coin any day of the week.
And you know what? The Warriors were retooling as they were winning championships, right? Because if you forget, they won the championship,
right?
Lose, they retooled with Kevin Durant,
right? They go get KD. So it's
then they retooled again with a lot of the young guys that helped them beat Boston, a couple of years ago. So they were actually retooling. The difference is that the stars or the superstars in Golden State are all already past their primes.
Right.
Obviously, Clay's not there anymore, but the injuries took a toll on helping him, pushing him past the prime. With Boston, Jaylen Brown and
they're not even 30 yet.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So there's a huge difference because of the age. But when the Warriors were in their prime and they were retooling, and those guys were younger and still in their prime, that's what they were doing. They were little pieces, You had the Loonies that came through. You had the Bogats. You had Children. You had all these guys that they kept swapping in and out. And then then you had the Gary Payton Juniors. You had the Jordan Poole, who was a big contributor. You had the Andrew Wiggins came in for a couple of years, helped them. You know what I mean? So they were actually retooling. The problem is just that now Draymond's not in his prime anymore. Before obviously, Clay's with Dallas now, but prior to that, Clay was already past his prime. Steph is still on the tail end of his prime, but he's only one person. He's also older, and Steph is still getting hit with little ticky-tack injuries that's causing him.
That's what I'm saying. You can't even compare it, because if Boston never wins another championship, did they retool, or did they just keep shuffling the deck hoping to get back? Right. The Warriors went on their run, had to deal with the injuries, because also let's not forget the timing of those injuries changed everything for the Warriors. Clay got hurt in Game 6 of the Finals. He missed the whole next season. Kevin Durant gets hurt in the Western Conference Finals, and then officially gets hurt and is out in the finals. So now you lose two of your top 4 guys for the next season. That you're gonna punt on that season regardless. There's nothing you can do at that point. It's almost like Indiana, the way they lost Halliburton last year. You lose them so late in the season that you have no chance the very next year. It's gonna take you 2 years just to get back. So the Warriors retooled. They got back.
And if those guys don't get hurt, there's I think it's safe to say that they beat Toronto in that NBA.
They would have beat
Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson don't get hurt.
Right. They would have beat Toronto. We know that.
So and that's no slight to Toronto, but we got to
go. They would have beat Toronto.
You take away, the arguably the best player in the league at that time with Kevin Durant. You take him out of the mix, and you take Klay Thompson out of the mix, who's maybe the second best shooter of all time. You take those 2 guys out of the mix, and now you got just Steph and Draymond. Makes things a little bit more easier for Toronto to get the win. But those guys are playing. We there's a lot that would be changed as far as in these all-time rankings throughout the course of history, because if those 2 injuries don't occur, now you got Steph Curry with 5 rings. You got Kevin Durant with 3 rings. There's a lot in the record books that changes if that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking, and I also think it would have been a lot tougher for KD to leave. Like you just came off winning 3 straight finals. And KD, more than likely, KD would have been Finals MVP 3 straight years. You could you could say, oh, you want him and Draymond ain't getting along. But when you sit down and cooler heads prevail, it's like, yo, we just won 3 straight, and we're still all in our prime. Like, why would we want to go for 4? Right? Like, why wouldn't we want to do something that no team has ever done? Why wouldn't we want to go for 4 right now?
Exactly.
So, history changes. I think that finals, there's a lot of pieces to that finals, because Golden State should have won, first and foremost. We know that. The way we look at Kawhi probably changes if they don't win, right? Because Kawhi was going to leave regardless whether they won or lost. But Kawhi at that point would have only been a one-time champion, and we probably don't look at him the same. And maybe the Clippers don't even make the moves they made around Kawhi if the Raptors don't win. But also, to me, one of the biggest what-ifs was that year Houston had a chance to beat Golden State without Kevin Durant. If Houston goes to the finals, they would have probably won the finals that year. The best 2 teams were the Rockets and the Warriors. That changes James Harden's legacy. Because James Harden and them, they should have been able to beat the Warriors without Kevin Durant. They couldn't do it. And then they end up watching Toronto. Right, Chris Paul gets injured. But then they end up watching Toronto beat a injured Warriors team. And they had to be feeling like, yo, that was our chance to go to the finals and win it all.
I agree. Yep. Let me go to Imani. She says, shout out to Imani's pops too. She says, did you all see the issue? JJ seems like he could be an a-hole. I saw it. I'm not really gonna put too much on it because players and coaches go at it all the time. We literally, one of the other stories right now in the NBA that was a hot topic is Anthony Edwards going back and forth with his coach, and after he took that shot, obviously he made the game winner. But you know what I'm saying? So this is something that happens. I'm not gonna put too much on that.
I wouldn't call JJ that, because what the real friction is there is that Luka is ready for it to be his team, and JJ has that affiliation to LeBron. Mm-hmm. let's call it what it is. JJ is the head coach because of his connection to LeBron James. And so if you look at the start of the clip, LeBron tries to dap Luka up. Luka already kind of has an attitude. Then JJ tries to talk to him. So I'm sure behind the scenes, there's frustration with Luka and JJ with how things are going this season. Luka may feel like, listen, you have not officially handed me the keys to this team yet. Mm-hmm. You guys are still spoon feeding LeBron. Y'all not handing me the keys. And now every time I come to the bench, I got to wonder what you and LeBron are thinking, what you and LeBron are trying to plan for this game. So I think there's frustration. I wouldn't call him, an asshole like Amani did because I don't know him personally. I just think this is the level that they're at and the level of frustration that the Lakers are at right now with their season.
All right, let me go to Hoops Hype's question. Hoops Hype says, are the Warriors currently the worst run team GM-wise? Jimmy Butler was the great pickup. They seem to rather pick up old players past their prime. Just look at their roster since they drafted them young boys and never developed them. They got Porzingis and Al Horford. How does Curry just stay there? Okay, first of all, there's a lot of stuff going on here. But no, I mean, and just to answer the first part of that, GM-wise, no. And for reasons that we literally just spoke about, right? Because, it's the same GM that was retooling the team. It's just that guys get older. Now, yeah, the Jimmy Butler trade didn't work out, but it didn't work out not because Jimmy Butler wasn't playing well. It's just the injuries hit them. But when Jimmy Butler was in the game, he was playing well. So it's not like he came over here and was averaging 5 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist, and they were looking horrible with him there. He got injured. Steph is injured. So I'm not gonna blame the GM for that one. Now, if you want to blame the GM for the draft picks, because a lot of those guys did wind up being bust. A lot of those guys that they drafted, Jordan Poole, we saw what happened once he left the team. Gary Payton's Junior's been all right, but he's not no star. What's my man named the center, Eric, that they drafted with the was it the third pick or the second pick they had that year?
James Wiseman.
James Wiseman did not pan out. You know what I'm saying? So, and was a highly touted draft pick. So it's, you know what I mean? Like every draft pick is not going to be a Steph Curry. It's not going to turn into a Clay. Like you're not going to just hit like that. You know what I'm saying? All the time. And so in this situation, yeah, a couple of those young guys didn't work out. But no, I definitely don't think they're the worst team GM-wise. I have 4 championships under that guy.
Hoops Hype, I know you know ball. I know you watch a lot of basketball. This is a bad question, bro. Because to ask, are the Warriors the worst run team when the NBA currently features the Brooklyn Nets and the Sacramento Kings? Come on. We know who the worst run teams are, and it's not the Golden State Warriors. Now, if you're frustrated that they're not competing more right now during Steph Curry, quote unquote, it's still his era. It's still kind of his, I'm not going to say it's his prime, but he's still very, very good. You could be frustrated with that, but you also got to keep things in proper perspective, though. As Trip highlighted, some of those draft picks came during the COVID era where you couldn't even go to see guys play, so you weren't sure of the guy you were selecting. James Wiseman played, I think, 4 games at Memphis when they selected him, and that was based more off of potential than did they know what he was actually going to be. James Wiseman at this point is out of the NBA. So obviously the Warriors weren't the only team that thought he wasn't good enough because the other 29 teams don't think he's good enough to be in the league as well. All right. You guys have this infatuation with Kuminga, and I know Kuminga's playing well in Atlanta right now, but let's not act like Kuminga was lights out his whole time in Golden State. He has struggles there. Moody has not played well in Golden State as well. So the draft picks just haven't panned out for them. And the Jimmy Butler trade was a trade made out of necessity. If you want the Warriors to compete, if you want the Warriors to kind of keep it afloat, they had to go get another veteran. They did, and then Jimmy got hurt. I don't think he really meant the worst. I get what he's saying when the GM left, the Warriors went down. Well, I mean, you could say that about every team. Any team who gets lucky enough to draft a generational guy like Steph Curry. I mean, what you think you're going to draft Steph Curry every year? You're not getting Steph Curry every year. Like, look at the GM who drafted LeBron. What did he do after LeBron left? We forget that he drafted Anthony Bennett. We forget that Tristan Thompson was a lottery pick. Like a lot of these lottery picks are good, but you draft them based off the potential. You hope they become something. But it's only a handful of guys that really come out of the lottery and become like really impactful, influential guys who they now can say, all right, this guy's a part of my roster for the rest of my tenure. Look at the way the Cavs drafted after LeBron left. All those lottery picks they had, the only one of them that ever really panned out was Kyrie Irving. Dion Waiters was a journeyman off the bench. Anthony Bennett might be the worst number 1 pick of all time. Tristan Thompson was a journeyman. He should have never been a lottery pick, but he was, right? They traded Andrew Wiggins to go get Kevin Love. Andrew Wiggins was a good player. Did he ever live up to the hype? Number 1, no. So realistically, all those guys that the Cavs drafted after LeBron, only one of those guys really became an all-star caliber player.
Yeah.
That's how the league works a lot of times. You're not going to hit on every draft pick. And most of the time, the guys that you get are guys that are just good in a rotation. They might be good for your team. They might be good as a 6-man, but you're not going to hit on most of those guys. The dilemma that the Warriors had was that they had all that success. Like I said, they went to 5 straight. When you're going to the finals, you're not drafting high. You're drafting at the end of the first round. So most of the guys you're drafting are not impact guys. The moment Klay Thompson got hurt, Steph got hurt, they didn't have the guys to come off their bench to fill that need. Look how long it took the Thunder to get back to where they were after having KD, Russ, and Harden.
Yeah.
Right? It took them years to get back.
Yeah.
They had to make multiple trades to get back. So to criticize the GM because it's like we're trying to stay afloat. On one hand, if they tank it away, people would be upset that you guys aren't trying to win a championship with Steph Curry. So if we try to stay competitive and you make the move for Jimmy Butler, then people get mad because it's like, oh, but now you haven't developed the young guys. You're never going to really be able to do both. You're not going to be able to develop young guys and compete for a championship. That's not how it works in the NBA.
Let me throw this up. Anthony 716 says, I'm new, but you said people think Kuminga is good. What do you think about his game personally? I like his game. Listen, we have not even seen enough of his game right now to really make a good assessment of Jonathan Kuminga. I know he started off good in Atlanta, but there ain't nothing in Atlanta, so he pretty much could do whatever the heck he want out there. So he probably has the green light to shoot 25 shots a night in Atlanta, where he wasn't going to be able to do that in Golden State. And in Golden State, he wasn't doing anything else other than scoring, and the scoring was inconsistent when he was scoring. So I think that's the thing with Kuminga. But all right, he starts off out the gate with Atlanta with a couple of good games. Let's see what his numbers look like at the end of the season, because he's only been there for a week and a half now. So let's see what the numbers look out during throughout the course of the regular season, if he's still putting up crazy numbers every night.
I think Kuminga's a great athlete, and I think he can play ball. He's not a scrub. He's not some dude that's just like he running around and get cardio out there. No, he's good. He's a good athlete. I just don't think that he is a complete player. He's not a guy, I think, that fundamentally you would say, all right, he could be in our rotation and help us win. And the reason I say that is he's not a consistent enough three-point shooter. He's not a consistent enough shot creator. He's a high-volume guy. What he's doing in Atlanta right now is no different than what Cam Thomas did a couple of years ago in Brooklyn. Remember when Cam Thomas got that opportunity a couple of years ago on Brooklyn Trip, and he was dropping 30 balls and everybody was going crazy? But it wasn't winning basketball because he was a high volume shooter. So if you catch Kuminga on the right night, yeah, of course he's gonna look good. He's a great athlete, right? You see the highlight dunks since he's been in Atlanta. You see him scoring points, yes. But now force him to play within a system, force him to be efficient offensively. Instead of getting 25 shots and I say, hey, you're only gonna get 15 tonight, and let's see how effective you are then. So to me, I don't think you can win games with Kuminga. Jonathan Kuminga, to me, reminds me of a guy like a Zach LaVine. Yeah, Zach LaVine could ball. Anybody know that. But can you win anything with Zach LaVine? Has anybody ever won anything with Zach LaVine? No. But if you look at the raw numbers in the stats, you're like, oh, yeah, Zach averaged 25 a night. He should be good. Yeah, but he's also taking 25, 30 shots a night. You're not playing winning basketball.
So Anthony says, I thought he helped the Warriors in games in the finals versus Boston, but I'm saying you said people love Kaminga. What you mean?
I'm talking about it's been an ongoing joke within the comment section within our followers and our supporters because everybody thinks that Kuminga should have had a bigger role in Golden State. So that's what I'm talking about, Anthony. I think he had moments in their finals run. The same thing with Moses Moody, same thing with Gary Payton. He had moments, but consistently, can he help you win? I don't think he can because, like I said, he doesn't space the floor well enough. He doesn't do other things aside from being able to be a volume scorer. And if you put him on a team with Steph and at that time Clay, obviously we know where the offense is funneling through. They're going to get most of the shots. You got to figure out a way to be effective with your 10 to 12 shots. And he wasn't effective enough in that role. And that's why Golden State, I think, moved on from him.
All right, let me go to Pooh's comment. Shout out to Pooh. She says, did you all see Byron Scott's recent comments on what? I love you, Pooh. On Trips LeBron. Yeah, I saw them. You know, he shouldn't be a Laker anymore. I mean, what y'all want me to say to that? Like, he shouldn't be a Laker. Like LeBron gonna do what he wants. As long as he want to play, he gonna play. Like, all right. Now, you know, Byron Scott was a Laker, so he's entitled. He was in member of that Showtime team, so he definitely is somebody that can speak on the situation. But I will say this: I don't think nobody was telling him he need to get up out of LA when he was in LA, and it wasn't like, you know what I'm saying, he wasn't no star. Now he was all right. He was a good role player, but he wasn't no star, nothing like that. So I know nobody ain't say nothing like that to him. So.
Well, I think what he's referring to, and it's something that we talked about before too, it is time for LeBron to move on, right? It's Luka's show. LeBron is not a Laker lifer. He's not a guy who was drafted by that team. We know when LeBron went there, it was for an opportunity to try to win another championship, but also for the business side of things. Because when he went there, the Lakers were super young. They weren't a title contender at the time when he got there. So we know what Byron Scott is really saying. I don't view it as hate, and I don't feel it's him taking a jab. He's saying what we've been saying. LeBron and the Lakers need to break up. It's Luka's time. It should be Luka's show. And LeBron should do either his farewell tour in Cleveland or go to another team that he feels can compete for a championship. It's nothing different than what we've been saying, Trip. If LeBron is truly about trying to win another championship, he could have easily gone somewhere else this offseason. He didn't have to take the $51 million from the Lakers. He could have took far less and gone somewhere else. If it's about a farewell tour and you want to go to Cleveland, then go ahead, go to Cleveland. You don't have to stay in LA. But this constant dance of like, no, this is where I want to be. Keep in mind, for the last 3 trade deadlines, the Lakers have had to release a statement saying, oh, LeBron is saying he doesn't want to be traded. Why do we need to know that LeBron wants to be traded unless that's a conversation that you guys are actually having behind the scenes? So Byron Scott is not saying anything different than what we've already been talking about.
Let me go to Deontay's. Deontay says, reports say Rashid Shaheed and Mike Evans linked to the Bills. I will tell you this much. The Bills need as much help at wide receiver as they can get. Both of these guys, well, you know, Mike Evans, we know what he's done over the course of his career. The only thing about Mike Evans is he's been getting injured and missing chunks of the season, these past couple of seasons. So, you know, I'm not sure, you know, if he's not going to be healthy, because now you're talking about he's going to be even another year older. I'm not sure if he's going to be the answer. And I was also hearing rumors about Shaheed going to the Raiders as well. I heard about that as well. But again, the Bills need as much wide receiver help as they can get. So
Shaheed to Buffalo makes a lot of sense. Mainly because I think Seattle, they just came out today and said they're not going to franchise tag Kenneth Walker, which means they're trying to work out a deal with Kenneth Walker. They think they can work out the deal. Shaheed might be the odd man out of that situation. So him going there makes sense. Buffalo with Mike Evans, to me, doesn't make sense because Mike Evans has been a lifer in Tampa. Why would you force your way into Buffalo to learn a whole new offense?
Yeah, I think he stays anyway in
I
Texas.
think he does too. I agree. Like you said, between the injuries, between just the way where he's at in his career, he doesn't have anything to prove. He's gonna go into the Hall of Fame. I think he stays there, and I think he just signs maybe a 2-year deal that'll be his quote unquote farewell tour. But Rashid Shaheed is going to get a lot of interest from teams because of his ability to stretch the field as a receiver, but also you saw this year he had some big time special teams touchdowns. The kick return against San Francisco, the punt return against the Rams. So he is a guy that's going to get paid this offseason.
Absolutely. And he deserves it. Get that check. Shout out to Ron. He says, I seen Valerie still will be back on next week. I'm so excited for us to finish up with her. Yes, we are. Eric and I are excited as well. Told y'all just be patient. We're gonna get it done. And we officially got the day. I told y'all she wanted to come back for Women's History Month. She's super excited about coming back. Actually, now y'all reminded me, I gotta send her the link for next week's show that she'll be able to log in because she already texted me about sending her the link. So yes, she will be back next week. And you guys can get all the ABL questions, whatever WNBA questions out of the way. All right. Let me go to where we at? Oh, okay. Wrong. Y'all see Kuminga balling out. Got a big ass Kool-Aid smile on his face, man. It's crazy. Y'all two the only ones that semi-side with Kerr. No one's saying he an all-time great, but he got benched 10 plus games. Again, when we spoke about Kuminga and him being benched, we said it's because he doesn't do much of anything else besides scoring. And even with the scoring, it's inconsistent. So if you're on the court and the one thing that you do is score, and we can't get you to score, then what do we have you on the court for? Now you're just taking up spot from somebody that could actually be contributing. Now, we all said this. We had this same thing. Not Eric and myself, but oh man, Jordan Poole, he's gonna leave the Warriors and he's gonna go to Washington and he's gonna be and this is my man's in them KG said he gonna be an all-star with the Washington. Those words came out of Kevin Garnett, the Hall of Fame NBA champion, Defensive Player of the Year, MVP. Kevin Garnett even said that, and we saw what happened once the dust settled. Things started to cool off. It was like, oh, you know what? Damn, Jordan Poole wasn't really that good. That's why I said let the season go by. All right. Right now, Kuminga has the green light. Do what he wants. He can shoot how many times he wants. He's getting his shots up. So, but is he going to be consistent? Because again, it's going to come in them games when he ain't going to make them shots. And then that's when we're gonna come and revisit this conversation. Because even if you go back, right, he had a couple of games, he had a couple of 20, 17 games, but then he had a couple of games where he went 1 for 5, 4 for 12, 1 for 10, 3 for 10. Like, so it's the inconsistency with the thing that he does best, which is scoring. That's the problem. But we're gonna wait at the end of the season. We're gonna reevaluate and we're gonna have this conversation.
Well, like I said. The 3 teams they played, right? They played the Wizards twice. They played Portland yesterday. He's played well. This team is built around. Shout out to Kyrie, but this team is expected to be built around Risha Shea and Jalen Johnson. That's the direction they're going with this team moving forward. Can Kuminga fit into that with this team? Is he going to be like the slasher off the baseline and they're not going to expect him to do much other than run the floor? And maybe it works, right? Like I said, I'm not saying Kuminga can't play ball. He's a super athlete. He can finish around the rim. We know that. In open court, he's exciting. We understand that. But we also know that in order for you to be a really productive player in this league, you got to execute in a half-court offense. And then you also, like I said, you got to be a guy who can impact winning, as Trip said. So even when you're not scoring, are you good enough at helping on the boards? Are you good enough as a defender? Are you at least enough of a threat to shoot the 3 ball where defenses have to respect you? That's what we're going to see over time. So right now, what he's doing reminds me exactly of what Cam Thomas did in Brooklyn a couple years ago. when Cam Thomas was going off, everybody, you got to give him more playing time. You got to do more for him. And everybody else that was kind of watching was like, nah, it's really just they kind of rolling the ball out and just letting him shoot at this point. You know what I'm saying? He's taking 30 shots a night. What's going to happen when he can't do that? So that's what I want to see.
Nobody else did that could score. So yeah, you're gonna get that.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So now I want to see when they play better competition and Atlanta has those guys on the floor. Because like the other night when Kuminga had 24 points, Jalen Johnson only played 6 minutes that night. I think got hurt in that game. So Jalen Johnson normally is the focal point of your offense. He's normally the guy who would be getting the shots. He wasn't there. Let's see what happens when Atlanta has their guys on the court and Kuminga has to kind of fall in line.
And even if you look, their last 4 games, right? They play Portland. And these are the good games. You got all right, 20 versus Portland, 17 versus Washington, 27 versus Washington. And then he didn't even have that much versus Dallas. He only had 10 points versus
He didn't
Dallas.
play against that. He didn't play against Dallas.
So
that was I think, but that was his last game in Golden State, is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah. So
his first game in Atlanta was the Washington game. So he got the 27, he had the 17, then he had the 20.
So this is 3. You know what I mean? Like none of these teams is even sniffing at the playoffs. So it is what it is. But like I said, we're gonna give them to the end of the season. Anthony says, who should win Rookie of the Year at this point? See, normally in a situation like this, I would say go with the Blue Devil. But since both are, yeah, exactly. So since both of these guys are both, former members of my favorite college basketball team, the Duke Blue Devils, I'm honestly right now, I'm gonna say co-Rookie of the Year.
I wouldn't be mad at that. I'm going to say this, though. I think Con Knuble is going to win it. I think Cooper Flag has been great, but Con Knuble breaking that 3-point record, easily breaking that. Mind you, he's already broken it, and it's still a month and a half, almost 2 months left of the season. Yeah. And then also, Charlotte's probably going to break their playoff drought. He's a big part of that. So I think Con Knuble is going to win it based off of those things. He's been great, though, as well. I'm not trying to make it seem like it's only a narrative. He has been great this season.
No, yes. This reminds me of the LeBron Melo Rookie year.
Come on, why you always got to do this, Trip?
It reminds me of that.
This is why the comment section, the comments is going to flood because they're going to be like, Trip had to find a way to bring LeBron into the conversation.
You know what? All right, fine. Let's go to the next comment. We're going to the next comment. All right, we're going to Hoop Central. He says the Hornets been balling. Can they make the playoffs? Brandon Miller might be their best player. He's stepping up.
Yes, he is.
He is he's doing his thing, and I'm happy for him. You're right. He may be.
They're going to be in the play-in game for sure. They're playing the Mavs tonight as well. That's a good one to watch because you got the 2 rookies going at it. Mm-hmm. They're going to be in the play-in game. That is a foregone conclusion because the other teams have already punted on the season, right? Pacers ain't playing for nothing. Brooklyn ain't playing for nothing. Wizards, Bulls, maybe the Bucks. Maybe the Bucks are trying to get in, but I think ultimately Charlotte's going to get in, and then I think they're going to find a way to get to the 8th seed. So it'll be interesting to see them. I would love to see them play Detroit just because of the styles. Detroit is a better team, but the fact that Charlotte likes to get up and down the court and they shoot a lot of threes, I think that would just be an interesting series to watch just because of that.
Yeah. Me see, I'm only gonna put this up because the comment came up. Eric, you tripping? Melo should have won Rookie of the year. I mean, I know a lot of the argument, is Denver made it to the playoffs, that year. But they also had a playoff caliber team too. So I'm not gonna jump out the window, with that one. But I think part of that is again, the storylines. Braun with the averaging 25 and 5, and the only person to do that before him was Michael Jordan. So that was a big deal. So there was a lot. Like I said, I wouldn't have been mad with co-rookie of the year, but it is what it is. At this point, history's already been written. We can't go backwards. But for this current Rookie of the Year race, there's enough time for both of these guys to put their mark on the Rookie of the Year award. So I'm interested to see. And tonight, actually, people are going to come out of this game depending on how these guys do in this game, and that's the talk is really going to start to heat up about who's going to be or who should be Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I do think even then, if they would have gone co-Rookie of the Year, I would have been okay with it. It's crazy. I got to send you the clip. There is an old clip that surfaced with Braun and Melo after their rookie year. And it was after, because Braun went to one of the playoff games in Denver. And it was after the season, and he said himself, he acknowledged, he said Melo probably should have won Rookie of the Year this year because making the playoffs as the leading scorer on a playoff team is tougher than anything I did. And that was, Braun said that himself.
Yeah.
He said, I would trade, because they asked him, they said, would you trade Rookie of the Year, to make the playoffs? He goes, oh, yeah. And then he ends off by saying, I actually think he probably should have won it because to be the leading scorer as a rookie on a playoff team was probably tougher.
Let's see. Squeezy says, I am very I just thought about I'm very geek. Myself coming back. We are too, man. We excited about this one. Let me see. Pooh says, Steve Kerr says, I don't know if LeBron James changed the game as much as Steph Curry. Do y'all agree? Here's the thing. I think they both changed the game, but in different ways, right? Steph changed the game from the standpoint of every kid wants to be a three-point shooter now. I don't care if you're 7'5", if you're 6'2", everybody wants to be a three-point shooter, and that is because of Steph Curry, right? Now, where LeBron changed the game is player empowerment and the moves that he was making and changing the narratives and changing the course of how teams are being put together. Going to Miami and building the big three, coming back to Cleveland, building a big three, and kind of really, from that respect. And one of the other things that Braun did that had not been done before is becoming the first billionaire while playing in the NBA. So I think they both had a really big impact on the game. So, but Steve Kerr, and whatever.
LeBron changed the business of the NBA, without a doubt. But Steph did change the game of basketball. Steph Curry changed that more than LeBron James did. The ability to shoot from distance, even the way teams as a whole put their roster together and the way they play now. Steph Curry, prior to the analytics, prior to people saying the mid-range game is dead and that you need to be shooting either layups or threes, that was Steph's game. And so you look at how everyone now wants to play this 5-out offense, and everybody's got to be on the perimeter, and everybody's got to be able to shoot from distance, and everybody wants to be a threat the moment they cross half court. That is all Steph Curry. So in terms of the business of basketball, nobody's changed it more than LeBron James. He found a way to monetize every aspect of the game of basketball. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, it's just the facts, right? He created this thing now where every player wants to be a brand, and every player is worried about how their brand looks. But Steph Curry, the actual game of basketball, Steph Curry changed that far greater and far more than LeBron James did.
Hold on. Will said winning Rookie of the Month every month was enough for Melo to win Rookie of the Year. One of the biggest WTF moments in sports. Yeah, but Braun also got Rookie of the Month every month too, because you got to think they're in two different conferences. So that you can't. That argument is kind of null and void. Hold on. Who Central says Chip? I think they're talking about on the court, not off the court.
Yeah.
What has changed in terms of on the court? Yeah. Well, technically, the player empowerment does change what happens on the court, though, too.
To a certain extent, but that's to me that's still the business of basketball. Yeah. Player empowerment, player movement, linking up with guys. That's still the business side of it. Like I said, the way the game is played, nobody has altered it more than Steph.
Let me see. Kyrie says, did y'all see the Dort play on Jokic? Is he a dirty player? I mean, I I've never really seen Dort get into too many altercations, so I'm not going to just jump to he's automatically a dirty player based off of one play. Now, if you want to say the play was dirty, okay, but I'm not going to just say he's a dirty player because he doesn't have a track record of being a dirty player. At least I haven't seen that when it comes to Lou Dort. I've just known him to be one of the better perimeter defenders in this league.
Yeah, I don't think he's a dirty player, but that play itself was dirty. Now, we can go into whatever took place before then because the game is always chippy. And again, you're talking about two playoff teams, two teams that have won a championship. But that particular play, yeah, that was a dirty play.
Let's see. Where should I guess? Oh wait, hold on.
We're talking about the Warriors, yeah.
Hold on, let me skip over here. Shout out to Will Gordon in the building. You ready for? Oh, the Kyrie want to know if Will's ready for Trey Young Thursday in DC. Let me see. Okay, here we go. This one's for you, Eric. Shout out to Ron Charles. He says, Eric, how was it at the Senior Bowl? Did you get any good content or chopped it up with the fellas?
Absolutely. I put out some of the content when I was still out there, and Trip and I actually did a live when I was out there one day. Great experience. I'm looking forward to going back again next year. Actually my first interview I was out there, I just put that clip out the other day on Sunday, and it was to kind of piggyback what took place at the Combine because Mike Washington Jr., who set the internet on fire, he ran the 4.33 40. He had one of the better Combine performances of all time. They had ranked it as the best overall running back performance, not just his 40, but everything else he did, the shuttle time, his bench press. He was my first interview at the Combine, at the Senior Bowl. So I released that. It was a great experience talking to him. And I remember even telling Trip at the time, like, man, this kid seems like he's pretty special, bro. Like, just speaking to him, how level-headed he was. He was a guy who played 5 years in college, played at the University of Buffalo before transferring to Arkansas. And every year, if you look at his numbers, every year he slowly got better as he got more opportunity. Last year at Arkansas was his first time as a full-time starting running back. He runs for over 1,000 yards, averages 6 yards a carry, had a great year. So he just seems like a guy that's going to be great at the next level as he continues to get more opportunities. Katron Allen out of Penn State is another interview I'll be dropping soon. He was at the Combine. He didn't do his 40 because he's going to save it for his pro day, but everything else he did was good there. And then a receiver out of Baylor that's pretty good. I don't know if they're going to keep him at receiver. He may transition over to tight end because he's a big receiver. Josh Cameron. He was drawing some comparisons to like a Des Bryant type receiver, a big physical receiver, not a speed guy. But he was really good, and it was a great interaction with him as well. So I'll be dropping those, like I said, over the next couple of days. But the first one up with Mike Washington, that's on the YouTube. It's on my TikTok and on Facebook as well.
So yeah, gotta make sure y'all subscribe to all our social media, man.
That's a fact.
All right, let me see. Who Central says, I believe a great game tonight, Pistons versus Cavs. Yeah. Now again, I can't tell you how this is gonna work once we get to the second round of the playoffs, but at least in the regular season, you can see the impact of James Harden on this Cavs roster.
Right.
So this is going to be a really good game with two of the top teams in the Eastern Conference going head to head. Let me see. Okay, here we go. This is a good one here. Shout out to Imani. She says, what's going on with Rashad McCants versus Darren Williams, Ray Felton, Charlie Villanueva? What's the root of this? Why is McCants not liked? Well, apparently he's not liked because he's somewhat of an a-hole, but he had issues with their alma mater, UNC. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he was one of them ones in college. Gets to the league, doesn't really pan out that way. Injuries, and then from a lot of the talk, his attitude kind of cost him longevity. In the league. But this particular thing is just that Darren Williams came on their podcast and he told a story about a workout that they had with Raymond Felton, Rashad McCants, Darren Williams, and Julius Hodge. And apparently during that workout, they claimed that Rashad McCants quit basically during the workout. He said he got injured, but they felt like he quit. Charlie Villanueva had a similar experience at a different workout where he said that Rashard McCants quit. And I'm just based off of watching Rashard McCants and on Gil's Arena this past year. I'm more inclined to side with Raymond Felton and Charlie Villanueva and them guys, because sometimes the stuff Rashard McCants be saying is just be like, bruh, what are you talking about right now, bro? So I'm more inclined, and since Rashard McCants didn't really, show any receipts to say he didn't make me feel like those guys were not telling the truth.
The Rashard McCants thing is funny because really he could have eliminated all discussion. All he had to say was, and for people that don't know the backstory, Darren Williams was telling the story about how they were at workouts and they were running 2-on-2s. Darren Williams was being partnered up with Julius Hodge, who was a guard out of NC State, and Raymond Felton was being partnered up with Rashard McCants. Darren Williams said himself, at the time, he wasn't even doing one-on-one workouts. He would work out for teams, but he would not do like 1v1 types. Yeah. So before they partnered up, he asked his agent, like, hey, are you okay with me doing this? I don't want this to affect the draft stock. The agent was like, nah, you good, go ahead, do it. So they get to starting, and then Rashard McCants, what they say, faked an injury. Now, what made this story so unique is that multiple people have confirmed this story, and then Charlie Villanueva also confirmed another situation where he was at a workout with Rashard McCants, and the same thing happened. It really picked up steam because Julius Hodge, who hasn't spoken on this, but on his Instagram, he reposted what Raymond Felton said. And then in the comment section, he confirmed that that's how it happened, that he was actually yelling and cursing at Rashard McCants to get back on the court. And Rashard McCants didn't want to get on the court.
Yeah. And Pat Bev also called him out.
Pat Bev has also said that, right?
And said he ran him out the gym too in a workout.
Now, this is why I say Rashard McCants, he let his emotions get the best of him. Rashard McCants, all he had to say was, I wasn't scared to face you. My agent told me not to do any workouts. And had he done that, everybody would be like, all right, that makes sense. Because Darren Williams just said the same thing. That Darren Williams was like, I actually wasn't going to play until my agent gave me the green light. That is nothing out of the ordinary. That's very real. A lot of guys who go through the NBA combine and the workouts say the same thing, that their agents will advise them to stay away from doing one-on-one workouts or one-against-one guys. Because if you're playing against a guy who might be able to expose some things about your game, it could affect your draft stock. But instead, he got super emotional and tried to call out these guys and make them seem like they was liars. And then he even tried to take a jab at a very serious medical condition that Charlie Villanueva has by calling him sick because he has alopecia.
That was out of pocket.
Right. So he came across as a clown.
Yeah.
Let's call it what it is. Rashard McCants, he could say whatever you want about Raymond Felton, Charlie Villanueva, any of them guys. All of them guys had a better NBA career than you. Rashard McCants was good at UNC. He was a bust in the NBA. Raymond Felton had a solid NBA career.
Darren Williams in college, because Rashard, we're gonna give him his flowers. He wasn't that guy in college.
That's a fact. But he was the best player. He was the best player on that team.
Yeah.
So we're not going to front like he wasn't the best player on the team that won a national championship. But if you're talking about guys who went to the league, you was not better than Charlie Villanueva in the league. You wasn't better than Darren Williams. You wasn't better than Raymond Felton in the league. So they have every right to voice their opinion.
He wasn't better than Pat Beverly.
No, he wasn't better than Pat Bev. So if we voicing opinions, why wouldn't I believe what they telling me? Because these are guys who have been successful at that level that you could not be successful at.
Yeah. And you're telling me that not one, not two, but three different players have a similar story of being in a workout with you and you quit? Come on, bro. Everybody not just hating on you, bro.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm not, I like I said, I'm more inclined to side with Raymond Felton and those guys. It is what it is. Will, I'm gonna put this statement up here, but I'm gonna pause it for you because it sounds reckless. I get what you were trying to say. I don't know if you meant you guys played in a one-on-one game of basketball, and I don't know if this was a true story or not, but I'm gonna say pause first because this statement is wild, what you just said. All right. I can't say it like that. The second half is the fourth part. Okay.
Shout out to Will. I just want to know, Will, and maybe you'll let me know tomorrow when we go live. You was keeping points during the pickup game? You was keeping points of what you gave. Like you was a real Mamba mentality or something. Like I'm at 12 right now.
Listen, I have no idea. I don't know. Well, you know, it's nothing but love. Oh man, look, I'm sorry. Let me go back down to this next comment. Where we at here? Will wants to know, does Max Crosby stay in Oakland? I mean, if they're smart, they'll keep him in Oakland if they can actually, because they got a lot of things that a lot of areas they gotta fix. But Max Crosby is one of the better defensive guys in this league. So why wouldn't you want, you know, if I'm Oakland, you know, why wouldn't I want him there? Excuse me, if I'm Las Vegas, I'm bugging. You said Oakland,
Right.
It's Las Vegas.
Yeah,
But
I was about to say he won't be staying in Oakland. I don't think he lives out there in Oakland. But I know what Will meant though. But I don't think he will stay, not because they don't want him. He is a great player. They're in a rebuild, though, Trip. Let's call it what it is. And remember, at the end of the season, he was not happy about the fact that they wanted to bench him, quote unquote, for the tank.
Yeah.
And I think they're just going full rebuild. You know, you look, the best players on that team right now, aside from Max Crosby, are going to be on the offense. They're going to draft Mendoza as your quarterback, Jency as your running back, Brock Bowers as your tight end. They're going very young, and I think they can get a lot of good draft capital for him. So I expect to see him traded on draft night.
Let me ask you this, Eric, while we're talking about the Raiders. Going into next season, is Brock Bowers the best tight end in football?
It's a great debate. I'm gonna say no. And that's not to say he's not in the conversation. He is in the conversation. I mean, you're talking Kittle is still great. Tyler Warren in Indianapolis is great.
Coming off the injury, he's not gonna start the season.
Okay, so you're talking about who we got next year. We got Bowers. We got Tyler Warren from Indianapolis.
Okay.
We got, I mean, Kelsey's older, so we're not putting Kelsey in that conversation.
Yeah. The kid out of Atlanta,
Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is just beneath them. Kyle Pitts is really good, but he's not on that level yet.
So he might be.
He might be. I know we're missing somebody. I know we're missing a name.
Like if Kittle didn't get hurt, and I knew, you know what I'm saying, I would give it to Kittle.
Tucker Kraft from Green Bay is really good.
Really good too. But I don't think he ain't doing what.
Nah, Tucker Kraft was putting up big numbers last year before he got hurt.
Okay.
He was putting up big time numbers. That's what I'm saying. We're missing. If you want to go Brock Bowers, I'm okay with that. I'm not mad at it. I just think that there's a lot of good tight ends.
Yeah.
Like I said, that put up big numbers. And Brock Bowers last year was injured a lot. So we're talking about Brock Bowers from his rookie year. We're not really talking about what he did last year.
Yeah. All right, let me take this last comment from Kyrie. Then we're gonna get to the final thought. The kid that left USC is it true? He was 32 with 4 kids. It don't sound. Yo, I really hope there wasn't nobody in college at 32 years old with 4 kids. That's crazy.
They've already come out and said that's not true. That was an account on Twitter had put that out, or X now, had put that out immediately saying, oh, he was 32 with 4 kids. He is 26. Okay. That is a fact. But the reason he was dismissed from the team, Eric Musselman, the head coach, has already kind of hinted at it. There were some issues between Chad Baker and the coaching staff. And in his last game with USC, I didn't see the game, so I'm not going to pretend like I saw when it happened, but they're saying that he basically quit on the team, that he checked himself out of the game and then refused to come off the bench.
So he pulled the Rashad McCants.
Yeah.
Is that what you said? Oh man, Eric,
that's a great point, Will. You're right. That is a great point. I apologize for questioning the statistician at your pickup game, because you're right.
Eric, give us a final thought, man.
Man, shout out to all the supporters. It was another great episode rocking with you guys. Don't forget, we're back tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. We got some things in store. You know, we got to get to the NBA, and we got to get into whatever NFL conversations come up. As Trip mentioned today, Kyler Murray looks like he's going to get cut, and there's a lot of other stuff going on. But we're back tomorrow, 7:30 p.m.
Yes, sir. Just want to remind you guys again, Miss Valerie Still will be back with us next Monday, March 9th. So get your questions ready because we're gonna get to everything next week, and we're gonna close that chapter in the Real Fans Real Talk and Valerie Still book next week and get to the rest of your questions. Thank you guys again for the continued support. Next week or two, we're gonna talk a little bit of Bowling for Peace because we're going on the 10th anniversary of Bowling for Peace. So it's gonna be a big year. The celebrity basketball game is gonna be crazy this year. You guys know we sponsor the dunk contest every year. So that's going down. So we'll have more information about that coming soon. Make sure you guys are following us on all our social media, Instagram, Twitter at Real Fan Talk, Facebook.com/Real Fans Real Talk. And of course, subscribe to that YouTube channel, youtube.com/For the Fans Productions. If you're not in the New York City area and you can't watch us on Thursday nights from 8 to 9 p.m. on Verizon 43, do not worry. All you got to do is go to the website, realfansrealtalk.com, click the red button on the homepage, and you can watch from anywhere in the world. And make sure you subscribe to the two best podcasts moving, man. That's the Real Fans Real Talk and the Sanchez Show podcast. Eric and Will be on tomorrow night. If I can get home early enough, I will get on with the bros tomorrow. You know, my Wednesday schedule be crazy though, guys. But with that being said, for myself, Trip Young, my brother, my co-host, Eric Sanchez, aka Legend in Two Games, we up out of here. Peace.
This is Deion Grant from the New York Giants, Super Bowl champ, and you're watching Real Fans Real Talk.
Live from the can. Vibe the king.
This is Real Fans Real Talk. Real Fans Real Talk. We as real as you thought.